United States of America, USA, has said it has no preferred candidate in the forthcoming general election in Nigeria in 2019. Mr. Philip France, a political official in the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria, said this during a visit to Katsina State Government House in Katsina. He therefore assured the support of the U.S. to Nigeria in conducting free, fair, and transparent election in 2019.
The Federal Executive Council has approved draft white paper on the report of the Technical Committee on Industrial Relation Matters in the Federal Public Service. Briefing status correspondent after the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, Minister of Labour and Employment Dr. Chris Ngige said the draft white paper will help the federal government in the implementation of the no work, no pay rule. According to Dr. Ngige, other issues the draft white paper will address includes tenure regulations for labor union leaders to checkmate abuses and also the issue of the duration of residency program for medical doctors. Speaking on the dispute over minimum wage, Dr. Ngige said the states are still insisting on 20,700 naira as the last they can pay.
The Senate has called for the suspension of automated teller machine bank charges and directed banks to reconfigure their system to allow 40,000 per withdrawal. The chamber during the Wednesday plenary asked its committee on banking, insurance and other financial institutions to conduct an investigation into the priority or otherwise of the ATM card maintenance charges in comparison with the international best practices. The Senate's resolution was sequel to a motion moved by Senator Olugbenga Ashafa representing Lagos East in the Senate. Lagos State lawmakers are in the body of the motion noted that the card users are charged 65 naira per withdrawal from ATM after the third monthly withdrawal from an ATM outside that of the domicile bank of the said ATM users. Senator Ashafa further alleged that most banks have deliberately manipulated their ATM machine not to dispense more than 10,000 per withdrawal, and in some cases, this is to attract more bank charges from customers who are forced to carry out more transactions due to manipulated machines.
Worried that most banks have deliberately manipulated their ATM machines not to dispense more than 10,000 per withdrawal, in some cases, and in most cases not more than 20,000 per withdrawal at the ATM. Further worried that this is a deliberate ploy to manipulate the ATM machines, which are ordinarily manufactured to dispense as much as 40,000 per transaction, in order to attract more bank charges from customers who are forced to carry out more transactions due to the manipulated machines. Worried that it appears the CBN is becoming insensitive to the plight of Nigerians who are already complaining of excessive charges by commercial banks. If the CBN is trying to encourage a cashless Nigeria, why should they be making it more difficult and expensive for Nigerians to do transactions?
Contributing to the debate on the motion, Lagos West Senator Adiola Solomon, who frowned at the culture of excess and arbitrary bank charges and urged the Senate to urgently wade its big stick on Nigerians' banks.
All these are not steps in the right direction. And I must say this, Mr. President, all that has been analyzed in this motion is nothing but the true position of things. How can we imagine the movement of cash between central bank and the banks to the ATM? The charges are borne by the users of this ATM. How do we explain this? Mr. President, distinguished colleague, position as maintained by Senator Bola Hundada that because of the frequency of transactions That is why, and cause, that is why these charges are like this. It's not a true position of things. Because once you slot in your ATM card and you withdraw 10,000 naira, if you request for your bank statement, immediately the charges will reflect. It's automatic. And as such, you are the one burning the charges. And what we are saying is that we should stop ripping Nigeria off their hard-earned money.
Other lawmakers who contributed to the debate faulted the excessive bank charges by Nigerian banks.
So I think this very motion is very important, and we must ensure that we get to the root of this matter, find out what are the basis of these charges, and is it possible for these things to be streamlined, and as much as possible reduce to the barest minimum. The issue of bank charges is no more fashionable all over the world, yet we have been anachronistic in the way we practice our banking system here. So we must be able to behave like others. People should be encouraged to come and even take loans and advances from banks, which is what they do in most places. You wake up in the morning, you see letters from the banks asking you to come and take facilities. But here, the little one you have in the bank is being taken away from you. So that is not a system that should be encouraged.
To this end, the Senate resolved to invite the governor of the central bank to appear before the committee to end the practice of vague, unjust, and arbitrary bank charges. Senate President Bukola Saraki commended movers of the motion, added that it was coming at a very important time when citizens need to be protected.
Direct the committees on banking, insurance, and other financial institutions and finance to conduct an investigation into the propriety of ATM card maintenance charges in comparison with international best practices and report back to the Senate. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. There is a prayer to mandate the Committee on Banking, Insurance, and other financial institutions, finance, to invite the Governor of Central Bank to appear before the committee in order to explain why the official charges, as approved by CBN, are skewed in favor of the banking institution as against the ordinary customers of the banks. Those in favor of prayer to say aye. Those against say nay.
The Senate also enjoined the Consumer Protection Council, CPC, to look into the various complaints of excessive and unnecessary charges by the banks in the country. From National Assembly Complex, Abuja, Muyiwa Bamdele reporting. The immediate past minority leader of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has called for the reconstitution and restructuring of the upper chambers in line with the numerical strength of the parties. According to Akpabio, the majority must always preside over the minority. Akpabio spoke at a news conference after the plenary, during which he was temporarily barred from making contribution by the Senate President Bukola Saraki. The Senate insisted must be properly constituted and senators must sit according to their political party. Akpabio, who defected from the People Democratic Party (PDP) to the All Progressive Congress and resigned as the minority leader, said the Senate President should follow suit after Saraki defection to the PDP from APC. The Akwa Ibom lawmaker are threatening to stop contributing in the plenary unless his desired change is carried out.
Support the government to work, irrespective of political affiliation, and that is why I moved from the PDP to the APC to make sure that this government works before election. It shouldn't be all about election. It should be first about Nigeria. Let others also move in national interest. And I didn't just move like that. I was a leader in the Senate. I resigned my position in order to show that, yes, indeed, I meant business, and indeed, I'd move in the national interest. Let others who also have positions in the Senate, who wish to also cross carpet from one political party to the other, also resign their positions and take a cue from what Godswill Akpabio did. I think that answers your question about what I said in the Senate today. There is need for us to restructure the Senate. I'm sure you know that. There is need for us to have seats. It is not there. Behind where I sat today is my very good friend, distinguished Senator Shitu. It was after the little noise in the Senate that he told me that he's now in the PDP. And I said, so why are you sitting here? So don't you think there's need for us to restructure the Senate so that PDP will sit on the side, ABGA will sit where they should sit, and then the ruling party which still forms the majority in the Senate, will sit where it should sit, and then the leadership is restructured in a way that the majority can have their way, while minorities will have their say. That is the practice all over modern democracies. You can't have a political party with 10 members and another one with 80 members, and the 10 members will now produce a leadership. Does it happen anywhere in the world? Nigeria is not different. We are running a democracy. That was what I meant when I said that I will speak when the Senate is well restructured and well reconstituted.
From National Assembly Complex, Muyo Bamde reporting. Nigerian Senate witnessed rowdy section that lasted more than 25 minutes as a result of sitting arrangement in the chambers during the Wednesday plenary. The dispute started when Senate President Bukola Saraki declined the request of former Minority Leader Senator Godswill Akpabio, who wanted to make a contribution on a matter raised by Senator Bassey Akpan from Akwa Ibom State. Akpan, who is a member of People Democratic Party, had alleged that All Progressive Congress was planning to disrupt the election in Akwa Ibom State.
Mr. President, my respected colleagues, I wish to draw the attention of the Senate and the generality of Nigerians to the orchestrated plot of the APC in Akwa Ibom State to cause violence and mayhem as we build up to the general elections. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, let me place on record that as a fallout to the recently concluded primaries of the party in the state, where scores were killed and 2 divisional police headquarters burned down, the state government has discovered a plot by the All Progressive Congress in Akwa Ibom State to cause mayhem, which will eventually lead to the cancellation of the coming governorship election in Akwa Ibom State. We believe as a party, Mr. President, and as a people, that Akwa Ibom State has been adjudged as one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. Therefore, we wish to draw the attention of the Senate and the generality of Nigerians to the fact that the plot by the APC in Akwa Ibom to cause mayhem that will lead to the cancellation of the forthcoming governorship election in our state, so as to mobilize what the so-called federal might, to distort the peace of the state. We only bring this to your attention because we believe that as the people, as the party, we are ready for a peaceful, transparent, credible conduct of the next coming election. Thank you, Mr. President.
Meanwhile, some senators were of the opinion that the Senate President was biased to the APC lawmaker in making such decision.
Mr. President, as it stands today in this chamber, there is no any organized sitting arrangement. And you recall that I raised this issue in our leadership meeting once, that it is not in order that senators will just choose where to sit like that. We should organize it. If the former minority leader decides to sit there, Mr. President, he deserves to sit there.
There is no microphone there.
Leader, there's no microphone there.
Microphone. Mr. President, let us not take the Panadol for his headache. He chooses to sit there. If he decides now on his own volition to go to where there is a mic and speak, Mr. President, we should oblige him. But let me advise that please, even though we have only 6-7 months to go, let's do what is right. That some of our colleagues have moved from APC to PDP. Some of our colleagues may move or have moved from PDP to APC, APC to ADC, and so on. We may allow our colleagues to choose where they want to sit, but that's not the practice in legislature. We have the standard of how we sit or how arrangements should be. Let's do it.
Senator Saraki, in his defense, explained that Senator Akpabio was sitting in an unallocated seat and one with a microphone.
You can't discriminate against our senators. You can't discriminate against our senators. You can't do that.
The leader and deputy senate president, what we agreed was that I said Senator Akpabio should go to a place where there's a microphone. Not that he should not speak. Simple. And that is what I said. I told he should go to a place where I have said it. He should go to a place, that is what I said.
Senator Akpabio argued that he was allocated the seat by the clerk.
By virtue of Order 43, by indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the Senate President, the Senator may make a personal explanation. I also want to refer you to Order 11. And the reason why I raised point of information and point of order was for me to reappraise you of Order 11, which says the President of the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator. The seat I'm sitting on was allocated to me by the clerk, and I will expect that the clerk of the Senate had obtained your permission before doing so. When we started, the first time I came, I sat next to Senator Kwankwaso until I was led by the sergeant at arms that this is my seat. And so I sat here.
Senator Akpabio, let me first correct one. Before you started to speak, I'd asked, before you finish, no, let me correct. I asked the clerk. I asked the clerk whether he allocated that seat to you. He said he didn't. The clerk is here. Clerk, respond.
When questioned, the clerk of the Senate responded that former Senate minority leader insisted that he would sit on the seat.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, if you remember last week when he came, he wanted a seat, and I allocated, I said he can sit where former Senator Dino was sitting before, because there was microphone there. So on the second time he came, he told me he would prefer to sit here. So I said there is no microphone there, but he said he would still prefer to sit there. So when he came this morning, and I was busy here when they said to me that he wants to sit there, I said he can sit there. That was what happened.
Senate President urged Akpabio to locate to a seat which had a microphone. It will be recalled that Akpabio had resigned as the minority leader in August, having dumped PDP for APC. The situation was eventually calm as Senator Akpabio apologized for his action, and Senate President urged the clerk to allocate seats in the coming week. The Senate has mandated its Committee on Police Affairs to probe the alleged role of security operatives in the pipeline explosion in Osisioma local government area of Abia State, where 150 villagers were killed. On Friday, the day of the incident, security operatives, particularly policemen, allegedly made break business at the place of pipe leakages as they allegedly demand money from those that were allowed to scoop the petroleum product. Bringing up the matter in a motion on the floor of the Red Chamber during the Wednesday plenary, Senator Theodore Orji lamented the carnage and avoidable loss of human lives. He faulted the inaction of the NMPC in addressing the matter of the pipeline leakage early to avoid disaster, and the role of police who resorted to collecting money from the villagers to allow them scoop petrol in containers.
On that fateful day, the leakage was much, and this attracted some of the villagers who went to scoop fuel as a means of keeping body and soul together. When a cell phone ignited fire, which unleashed mayhem on those around the scene of the incident and even beyond. But all that policemen drafted to the place to prevent people from scooping fuel went there and compromised themselves by charging the villagers 1,000 to 2,000 naira each in order to be allowed to scoop fuel. An information that was authentically and openly given to me by the traditional ruler of the village, Eze Goswell Mbarinya, when I visited his palace. Worried by the number of people that have died, properties that have been destroyed, dereliction of duty observed, and the extent of environmental pollution in the community and those rendered homeless.
Senator Victor Ume Ama Onwabua, in a separate contribution, lamented the death and the inaction of the authority.
NOSDRA and its agents and DPR had gone in to rectify this leak. It wouldn't have led to loss of human lives, totaling 150. It is regrettable that after this report was made, nothing was done. And of course, from the report and the motion, the policemen that were in this location started trading on the opportunity. People started going to scoop petrol from the pipeline, from this leak. They were going there with buckets and jerry cans to tap from the pipeline, and the business was flowing, it was booming. If you tip police officials with some money, they allow you go to the pipeline and scoop petrol. And eventually, due to negligence and dereliction of duty, this thing caught fire and killed a lot of people.
Having just come in this morning from Abia State, I want to say it was a very gory sight to behold, quite sympathetic and pathetic. I saw where human lives are being charred and burnt like rats, and for no cause really of theirs, just like it's been said, due to negligence of an organization, a department of government agency, the PPMC or DPR. Mr. President, from information reaching us, this leakage has been on for months. We were shown records of letters that have been acknowledged by NMPC, asking them to come and rectify this. And they left it until it got to this stage.
Ruling on the matter, Senate President Bukola Saraki mandated the Committee on Petroleum Downstream and Police Affairs to look into the matter as part of a measure to forestall reoccurrence.
Distinguished colleague did that, considering also the number of people that died, whether a delegation should be sent. I think that also is very important, that a delegation be sent not only to both to the Abia State government and the community, and to show concern on our part. So I'd like somebody to move for that additional prayer and second it.
The committee has 2 weeks to report their finding back to the Senate. From National Assembly Complex, Abuja, Nigeria, Muyiwa Bamdele reporting.